Caseus. The Inner Storm. Chapter 6. Rondo and Caseus stared at each other. "What are you doing here, Rondo?"
"I should ask the same of you, my boy. It was our belief that you Jedi were all destroyed."
Caseus looked down and back to Rondo. "Not all of us. Now, what is it you're doing here?"
"I struck a bargain with your friend here. In exchange for not selling him over, he promised us a bounty of treasures from this vessel. We're here to collect on that."
"Would you care to repeat that, Rodian?"
From the cruiser emerged Dravok, saber in hand. Rondo and his men drew their blasters and aimed at him, only for Juro to do the same, aiming at Rondo. "Wait! Everyone calm down."
"No witnesses, Caseus. These things will sell us over to the Empire the minute they leave."
"A tempting proposition indeed."
"Hold on. Rondo, put your weapons down. Let's talk. We worked together before, maybe we can work something out."
"I was under the impression that our business had concluded, young Jedi. A favor for a favor. What could you possibly want with little old me?"
"Information. You can probably see we're more or less cut off from the rest of the galaxy out here. We need to know everything that's going on." Rondo looked over at his men and lowered his blaster.
"What sort of information?"
"Come inside. We'll talk. If you help us out, your compensation will make you rich." Rondo looked over at Dravok and Juro.
"Agreed. But only you and I will speak. The others shall remain. And if I discover anything has happened to my men, rest assured the Empire will not be your greatest threat."
"Nothing will happen to your men." Caseus stared intently at Dravok. "Nothing." Dravok sneered at Caseus and shut off his lightsaber.
"You have 5 minutes.
Caseus stepped inside with Rondo and found a room with a table and metal chairs. Rondo sat across from Caseus.
"I'm surprised you managed to survive, Caseus. Though clearly not in one piece."
"Well, times have been hard. How did you manage to come across Juro? I thought you and your men had a hideout on Coruscant."
"Coruscant was becoming too seedy a place for a decent man such as myself."
"Selling stolen artifacts and threatening to sell us out doesn't exactly strike me as decent." Rondo chuckled.
"I think you'll find I'm a saint compared to the lowlifes running the streets these days. Now, what exactly are you doing all the way out here? Hiding?"
"In a manner of speaking. As of now, I'm not exactly sure what we're hiding from. Like I said, not a lot of news reaches us these days. That's what I wanted to talk to you about. I have a proposition for you. A job, if you prefer to call it that."
"I'm listening."
"We need information. Updates on what's going on with the Empire and the galaxy at large. Specifically, Caseus pulled out his holoprojector containing a static image of Skywalker from the hologram broadcast the day prior. I want to know everything you know about this person." Rondo's eyes narrowed as he looked at the projection.
"Chances are you know as much about him as I do. This Darth Vader seems to be one of the higher-ups in the Emperor's inner circle."
Vader. Do you know anything else about him?"
"Why so interested? What is your plan here, Caseus?"
Caseus stared at Rondo. "Telling you any more is a gamble I'm not willing to take. At least not yet. What we're doing out here has to remain a secret. Top secret. In exchange for information, and more importantly your silence, I'm willing to let you take anything you want from the ship and sell it for profit."
"You realize that I hold all the cards in this little game of sabacc, Caseus. You're not in a very favorable position."
"True. But I have a trump card."
"And what would that be?"
"I know for a fact you and your men aren't prepared to throw down with 2 desperate Jedi at the end of their ropes. I have no quarrel with you, Rondo. But we have a mission. And should you put it in jeopardy, you'll find yourself in more trouble than you can handle. Rondo and Caseus stared at each other, before Rondo grinned.
A real negotiator. Fair enough. I accept these terms. In exchange for relics, we will provide you with whatever information you need during our travels.
Can I trust you and your men to keep your word?
My men are loyal for as long as the payment is provided. Rest assured, your secret is safe with us.
Good. Let's head back up and tell Dravok.
No need.
Dravok stepped out from around the corner and glared at Rondo.
Information. Every week. And it better be good intel. Otherwise you might find yourselves as a feast for the sand burrowers.
But of course, noble Jedi.
Don't insult me. Gather your men and tell them the news. After that, be on your way.
Certainly. A pleasure doing business with you again, Caseus.
Caseus nodded as Rondo picked up a few old relics from the floor and made his way to his crew. Dravok walked over to Caseus.
How exactly do you know this scum?
That scum helped us stop your attack on the temple. And he's just given us a name.
So I heard. Vader. So that's what Skywalker is going by these days. It makes no difference.
What's our next step?
For the time being, we remain in hiding. Once I feel you've trained up enough, we'll look for more people to recruit to our cause.
How long will that take? Dravok looked at Caseus.
Look, Caseus. I know how much you want him dead. I can sense it. Your lust for revenge will motivate you to see it done. But you're not ready.
You keep telling me that. What I want to know is when I will be.
Believe me, you'll know.
Caseus and Dravok walked back upstairs as Rondo stood on the ramp of his ship.
I can tell this will be a most profitable venture. Jedi, I bid thee farewell.
Rondo stepped into the ship as it took off towards the sky.
Clone, if you want something to keep you occupied while I work with Caseus, you can start modifying that medical shuttle. The less it sticks out, the better when we need to use it. If you need parts, take what you need from the ship. Great. Manual labor in the middle of the desert. Just what I was trained for. Mind your attitude, trooper.
Juro rolled his eyes and went into the shuttle to work. Caseus was lost in thought. Vader. A chill traveled up his spine.
He'll get what's coming to him. Sarah and Master Takai won't have died in vain.
Caseus looked at Dravok. I think I just figured it out.
Figured what out?
You really don't have an endgame, do you? Any ulterior motives?
You don't know anything, boy.
I think I do. You want Vader dead because of Master Takai, don't you?
Any feelings I had for Kukuri died a long time ago.
I think you're lying. You said it yourself. You never wanted to see her hurt. Now that she's gone, you want revenge. Just like I do.
There's a big difference between revenge and justice.
You're not the only one who can sense things. You feel guilty, don't you? Dravok glared at Caseus.
The last time I spoke to Kukuri, she called me a demon.
You are a demon. But you're looking for vengeance. Not for the Order, or for the Republic. For her. Dravok looked away before staring up at the sky. What now?
We train. Get up, boy. We're almost there.
Caseus opened his eyes and sat up in his seat.
Nar Shaddaa's in range. I still think this is too risky. This place is infested with the worst scum you can imagine.
And that's exactly where we'll find the right people. Caseus activated his comlink. Rondo, come in. Do you copy?
Loud and clear.
Are you positive he's down there?
Without a doubt. I still don't like the idea of dealing with his kind again, but you're the one in charge. You'll find him slumming it up in the lower district, taking odd jobs to scrape by.
Okay. Thanks. The shuttle landed as Drabok and Caseus stepped off. Juro had done it. You'd have to be an expert to tell that the ship was a Republic craft.
You gonna be okay at the ship, clone?
I'll be fine. Just don't be too long. And Caseus.
Caseus turned to his friend.
Be careful.
Caseus gave Juro a reassuring look and walked out into the dim, smog-filled streets of Nar Shaddaa. The past year training with Drabok had been a nightmare. More pain, more restless nights, and more nightmares. But he no longer feared the nightmares. The same one. Each night. Sarah. The guilt he felt. The rage. It fueled him. Kept him going. His physical strength had never been greater. Looking at his reflection in the cockpit window every morning, he barely recognized himself. His hair nearly reached his shoulders. A thick layer of stubble now covered his cheeks and chin. He was a far sight from the pitiful state he had been in when Drabok found them. Though his hatred for Drabok hadn't changed a bit, Caseus couldn't deny that his training was paying off. Still, he wondered if it would be enough. It had to be. Any sight of him? Drabok looked around. He was close. He could feel it. But where? From the shadows, Caseus could hear a distinct growl. There you are. From behind him, a Trandoshan leapt out at Caseus, trying to strangle him. Caseus hardly flinched, instead reaching out with his mechanical arm and grabbing his assailant by the throat, pinning him down as he screeched and tried to gnaw away at his flesh.
Toza, good to see you again.
Toza choked and gurgled while staring at Drabok.
Let him go.
Caseus gave Toza a cold glare before releasing his grip as the Trandoshan stood, coughing and gasping while his reptilian tongue flicked up and down.
Drabok.
I'm sure you're familiar with Caseus.
Toza sneered at Caseus, who stared back coldly.
Yes, I remember the boy. You caused me a lot of trouble.
Sorry to have inconvenienced your plan to murder us.
His plan. And because his plan failed, I was forced to run back to this dunghole. Do you even know how many bounty hunters are after me?
No. And I don't care. Now, do you want a job or not? Toza growled inquisitively.
A job? You expect me to follow you on another ridiculous crusade, Drabok? I think not. You and your little stooge here have caused me enough problems.
That's fine, I guess. We'll just be going then. We'll be sure to let the bounty hunters know where to find you.
You wouldn't. You're even more of a wanted man than I.
Try me.
Drabok and Caseus began to walk away, as Toza looked around nervously before sprinting back over to them.
Wait. What job?
A job that'll make sure you never go hungry again. Provided you do what you're told, and play nice.
Toza looked at Caseus and sneered.
You trust him?
No, but we're trying to achieve a common goal. And for us to achieve it, we're going to need someone with extensive knowledge of demolitions and explosives, which is where you come in.
Toza looked down and back up.
What's the catch?
The catch is that this will be the most dangerous job you've ever taken if you decide to come. But of course, someone as brave as you wouldn't be scared, right?
You insult me. No job is too dangerous for Toza.
Good. Then welcome aboard.
Toza stood in front of them, looking around.
So, where are we off to?
First, I'm guessing you know where we can find a few more hired guns for our plan.
You don't need my help for that. Nar Shaddaa is teeming with smugglers and scrag rats.
We're not looking for just anyone. We're looking for the absolute best. Toza put his claw to his chin.
I know just the place. Dishova's nightclub in the mid-levels. There's a group of scoundrels that meets there every night to play dice.
Are they for hire?
For the right price. Of course, it may be quite difficult to acquire their services. If you can best them in a game of dice, they may be a bit more open to your offer. Their leader, Harbo Tyron, is a man with a healthy appreciation for competition.
Take us there then.
Fine. Be warned, however. Tyron and his crew have no love for the Empire, but others in the area may not be as sympathetic to your kind.
We'll take our chances.
Brave boy. Follow me. Not too closely, though. I have a few enemies in these parts.
Can't imagine why. They followed Toza up to the mid-levels. As they walked, Caseus made sure to keep the hood of his cloak up and his lightsaber well concealed. If they were found out here, someone would turn them over to the Empire, and all of the training and planning would be for nothing. Posters lined the sides of buildings, recruiting people to the Empire's cause. New troopers in new armor were shown with their fists raised in a sign of strength and power. If only the people of the galaxy knew the truth.
It's just up ahead. Go inside and I'll follow.
I don't think so. You go in first.
If you want my help, you'll have to trust me, boy.
I don't trust you. I'd sooner trust a Jawa to guard my droid.
Relax, Caseus. Toza knows what'll happen if he tries anything funny.
Toza recoiled a bit as Dravok gave him a chilling stare. Fine, let's go. Walking into the nightclub, they began to look around. Holograms of dancing Twi'leks were stationed at the tables, and waitresses and bartenders made their way around, serving drinks and food to the patrons.
Look for the dice tables. That's where we'll find them.
Dravok looked around with Caseus, and soon spotted the games section on the balcony above them.
Up there. Go.
Heading up the stairs, they saw tables for Sabak, Dejarik, and in the far back, smugglers' dice. Sitting around the table were 5 men, all gathered around laughing and drinking. The one in the center appeared to be the one in charge, wearing a flight jacket with tons of patches and buttons. His hair was slicked back with a strand hanging in front of his left eye. That must be him. Caseus and Dravok walked over and sat in front of the crew.
Can we help you?
We heard you were the guys to talk to about a job.
Look, if this is about some 2-bit runaway, we're not interested. We got more important things to do.
This isn't any common slimeball we're hunting. This target is high profile. The man raised his eyebrows as he sipped his drink.
How high are we talking?
Extremely.
We're looking for only the best out there. If that's not you, we'll be on our way and find them.
Whoa, slow your roll there, bud. Me and my men are the best, hands down. The name's Harbo Tyron. But just so you know, our prices aren't cheap. And we demand full payment before any work is done.
How much?
20,000 each.
Caseus looked down at the table. We can get you your money, but it'll take a while.
Well, then I'm afraid we're not for sale, friend.
Dravok walked forward.
I'll tell you what. A game of smugglers' dice. If we win, you take our job and receive your payment before it's carried out at a later date. If we lose, we'll pay you 10,000 credits right now and be on our way.
Harbo looked to his men and back to Dravok.
20, and we have a deal.
Fine. 20,000.
Dravok sat as Harbo prepared the table, placing a set of dice beneath a cup and shaking it around.
You know how this game works, correct? 5 rounds, 3 wins takes the game. The goal is simple. The dice go under the cup. You just take a guess as to the number you believe it to be. And the winner is closest to the number.
Dravok nodded as Harbo shook the cup.
Since you're our guest here, you go first.
Dravok looked Tyron in the eyes.
10.
5. Harbo lifted the cup as the dice showed 12.
Not bad. but there's still 4 games left.
Harbo took the dice and tossed them in the air before placing them back under the cup and sliding it to Dravok, who shook the cup before placing it down.
7.
9.
Lifting the cup, the number was exactly 7.
Ah, that's more like it.
Dravok scowled and pushed the cup and dice back to Harbo, who shook the cup again and set it down.
6.
3.
Lifting the cup, the dice showed 3.
On a roll, boys. One more game. We got this in the bag.
Caseus stared at Harbo and saw him toss the dice into the air again. Dravok, let me take this one.
Back off, boy.
Trust me. I've got this. Dravok sighed and moved as Caseus sat.
Bringing in a ringer, are ya? No matter.
Harbo slid the cup and dice to Caseus, who shook it and placed it down.
8.
4. Caseus lifted the cup, and, to Harbo's shock, the number came to 4.
Wait, no, how could...
Caseus smirked and held up a second pair of dice, identical to the ones in the cup. Looking for these? Caseus rolled the dice over to Harbo as they landed perfectly on 8. Trick dice. Clever. Harbo scowled but grinned.
Smart boy.
Then you've been cheating us this entire game.
Harbo kept his hand on his blaster as Caseus raised his hand to Dravok. One more game. With real dice this time. Harbo scratched his chin and looked at his men before turning back.
Agreed.
Caseus put the real dice into the cup and shook it before setting it down.
5.
12. Caseus took a risk, but as he lifted the cup, the dice showed 10. That's game, Harbo. Harbo looked at the dice in disbelief before glaring at Caseus, who smiled in satisfaction. Suddenly, Harbo let out a deep, hearty laugh.
Well, I'll be. The first time I'm beaten at dice and it's by a boy. Very well. You've acquired the services of Harbo Tyron and the crew of the Arabella.
Caseus stood and slid a data chip to Harbo. These are the coordinates. Meet us there, and we'll discuss the details.
Give us 2 days and we'll be there.
How do we know you won't flake on your deal?
A scoundrel, I may be, but Harbo Tyron always keeps his word. We'll be there.
See to it you are. Caseus stood and walked out with Dravok into the streets, where Toza was waiting, leaning against the wall.
Well?
We got them. Come with us. We're heading back to base.
Of course, boss.